Welcome guys. Let's continue with the next part. This topic, guys, would be the continuation of my last class, where I have introduced you how we can configure the container cluster, right? And there's a multiple product available in the market through which you can create a container cluster. But there's a one managed services from AWS, right? The name of service that is actually the also managed and plus inbuilt service of the AWS cloud, that's called ECS, Elastic Container Services. Okay, and using this service, guys, we can create a managed cluster, or I can say the container cluster, where we can launch the container. And internally they use the Docker engine behind the scene. So this concept, guys, I explained to you in very detail in my last class. So let's continue with the next part. So the topic would be continuous, but I would like to take some more detailed discussion on this topic. Plus, I have some more plan here. So there's a topic called, guys, if you want to create your own private registry, how we can do. There's a service called ECR that we're going to discuss today. And by this service, we are going to create our own registry for the container. What I mean by registry, we'll discuss. Okay. And there's one more powerful service now, very famous in the AWS world, called Fargate. Okay. It is a kind of serverless service for container management. So what is Fargate and how it will work, we will discuss. Okay. But what is ECS? You guys know, and I also show you the multiple demo for very basics about the ECS. So these topic, guys, would be on the top of ECS only, or I can say these are the subtopic of ECS service. So what is ECR? What is Fargate? We'll see today's class. So this entire class would be based on this topic only. Okay, so let me do step by steps here, and let me explain you every bit of these services, and then we'll move to a practical. So to understand these concepts, guys, first I will take the topic called ECR, and what is mean by registry. So let me first explain you by my local computer here. So this is one local VM I have. It's called Red Hat 8. You can use any of the VM. Just want to show you some extra demonstration. So I'm launching this particular OS right now. Okay. So what is ECR? So for this, guys, I believe everybody know what is Docker. And you also know one thing, if you have an image, from this image, you can launch a container. And now you want to launch a container using Docker, or there's a lot of tool available in the market to launch this container. Container is something like your operating system. Before this, you need an image. Now it is your choice. You can have this image from the internet. A lot of images available. One of the area I show you is called Docker Hub. And from the Docker Hub, guys, you can go and download the image and use it. Let's go pull. Or other option would be you can create your own image. That's called custom image. And mostly guys, we have to create our custom image only because we have our own app. So guys, suddenly my I don't know why it's so sudden, my laptop power goes off, my system shut down. So you won't, guys, don't miss anything. Let me again start what I was talking, right? So so normally, guys, mostly you have to create your own image, that is called build. Okay, create your own image because you have your own custom environment on apps. So mostly we have to create our own image. But guys, where you can keep this image, either you can create this image after you create by yourself, right, in your local machine only. But if you want other team gonna use this image, so for this you have to share this image and store in some centralized storage. And this centralized storage is known as repository of your images. But typically in this world, this repository is known as registry. So this registry, guys, you can store and upload this image. That's called push this image over there. And why we do this? Because this repository, guys, other teams also connected. They can download your image and they can use it. Now it is your choice. You want to use this registry that's publicly available. That's called Docker Hub. Okay, but it is for just for testing purpose. But normally we have a security constraint or security compliance. Company said this is very important image, might contain some sensitive data. I can't upload my image in some other third-party company. We have our own personal private registry that only we can use and only we can govern and we can manage. Okay, so that's what the plan, guys, for today. Public repository example would be Docker Hub that you guys know already. Okay, but if you want to create your private registry, again you have two choices, right? To create your private registry, either there's software available in the market, you can download these software and can set up your own server in your company and set up your own private registry, but that is by that you have to manage. Okay, so there's a lot of product available in the market nowadays. Where one of the famous products called Quay, there's a product you can use. Otherwise, there's a registry product, multiple product available in the market to set up your own private registry. Or you can set up your own private registry, but it is not by your own. You can tell some other company. Here I'm talking about managed services. So you can go to cloud like AWS and ask that I won't have my own private registry. It is owned by me, but I want the entire infrastructure you manage. And guys, here the name of the service called ECR come in play. So Elastic Container Registry Services from the AWS. So technically, we are going to set up our own private registry, but managed by AWS. Okay, and name of the service is called ECR. Okay, so right now we're not going to use Docker Hub. We create our own image and push our image to ECR. So if I go to AWS portal, okay, and if you go inside, because this is one of the sub-service of ECS, so you can go inside the ECS page, you will find this particular service would be available there. Okay, so let me first log in. Okay, and if you search for ECR, okay, so Elastic Container Registry, where you can share or deploy your container image, right? Means it is a registry or a repository for us. So click here. So this is a service you can use to put your own image. Now you don't need any Docker Docker Hub to upload this. Okay, and obviously you just go and click and create a repository. Now here they give you both the options. The way Docker Hub also give whatever image you want to upload, it is publicly available. Anybody can download if they know the URL. It's something like a Docker Hub, or you can go for private one that anybody who have the password of this registry, they can download from here. So obviously, guys, here right now I'm looking for a private. And now here they are talking about give the repository name, means you can think like a folder name, because image is like a file. So which folder you want to upload this images, technically here known as repository name, sometimes also known as namespace. So you can give your name. For example, I'm going to give the name called Linux World repository. Okay, it's a folder name. You can give any folder name. So technically here, AWS has given us a URL of the server. This is this one URL of the server, and say this is the URL where I am creating individual repository for you. And here you create a folder also known as repository name or a namespace name. Whatever image you have, you can upload here. Okay, and this will be your private one, but because I selected here private. Nobody can use directly from the internet, only the one who have a password. So pretty straightforward. Nothing special. These are the guys scanning options. They have some extra security. They scan the vulnerability on the images and something like this. AKMS, all the things you guys know. So I don't want to invest the time here. Okay, so it's so simple to create this repository. But after you create, how you can upload the image here and how can you use, I will explain you in a minute. But let me first create a document for you, because again there might be multiple commands for this. So you have to just go here, right? And that's all. And finally create, that's all. So one simple click, guys, now new private repository has created with this name. This is the URL I will provide to my team and say, this is the URL, go and upload or download the image from here if you know the password, or we have to provide the password here. Okay, and right now guys, if you see here inside this repository, I don't have any images because none of the images has been uploaded here. Okay, so how to upload the image, that's what the next point to be. But for this, guys, you should have your images. So what I'm doing here, again, this is not the class of Docker, but these are the video, guys, is available in IIC Rise channel about the Docker, where I explain you multiple things about Docker. Plus there's a lecture how you can create your own image. So I'm not investing the time over here how to create your own image in detail, but very quickly just just show you very basic commands that might be at the basic level useful if you want to create your own image. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm going to create a new folder, let's say Docker image folder. And here, if you want to create your own image, so there's a file called Docker file you can use, right? This is the file where D is capital. Okay, and here I can say I want to create my image, but my base image, let's say, is for HTTPD. So all the content I'm taking from this image. Okay, and after this, what I'm doing here, after this, I will use echo command, and I'm printing hi Vimal, right, in a file called where HTML index.html. So here I'm putting this content because you guys know this is the home page. And to run this command, I'm using the run keyword. That's all. So nothing very fancy here. So this will be my own customer image where I'm putting my own custom data on my home page of my new image. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. And that's all. Or maybe you can use some other images. Let me use this one. Vimal 13 Apache is one of the image, guys, I have already in the Docker Hub. I'm using that image. This already created, and inside this image I'm going to add some more extra content just for testing Vimal REST. So this image has already some pages of PHP or home page, and there I'm going to add one more page with a name called Vimal RESTML with this particular content. So that's the only thing I'm doing here. And now I can compile this image called build. Okay, and this image I'm going to give a new name. Let's say name is called AWS image with some version, and dot means current folder. I am looking for this file, and if you find this file, compile this and create a new. So that's what, guys, new image has successfully created. Nothing very fancy here, but there's a lot of things there, guys, in creating the image. You can go through my videos, you will come to know other concepts also. But to test everything is working or not, so what I'm going to do here, I'm trying to run this image. Okay, you guys know the command run -dit. I'm putting in the background. Okay, new Docker container launch. Okay, and most of the IP would be of this is 17.0.2 most probably. And if you go to this page of the IP of this system, if you go and check the inspect command, you will find the IP. Most of the IP may be this one. And if you try to find this page, you can see output cover. It means everything working good. And if you try to see the home page that I already had in my image, so if you go and check this home page, I think this is a PHP page I have put there. You can see this output, and the IP of my container will also print it, because that's what I put in my PHP code. So, so technically we have created our own image, and pretty simple to do it. Yeah, but this image right now is stored in my local registry. How I know? There's a command called docker images, and try to search, does I have this image or not? Answer is yes. So this image, guys, is there in my local repository. But if you want to upload this image in the Docker Hub, so there's a command called docker login. You can do enter. Okay, and in my case, is login succeed, because in my laptop I already log in. My login password is there in this file. They get this file and login. I did login initially, right? But right now, this command login actually by default in the Docker Hub. It means if I do Docker push on this image will upload it on the Docker Hub, and normally we put the image there normally as a public, so anybody can go to my account and download this image. I don't want this, but okay, so my requirement is very different here. I want to push my image not in the Docker Hub. If I hit here, so guys, here they are uploading by default in the Docker Hub, so I don't want this. Okay, I don't want to upload my image on the Docker Hub. Okay, for this, by chance they are denied. Why? We'll see in a minute. So my plan is to upload this image over here in my private registry in AWS managed services. That would be our plan. Okay, so for this, what I'm doing, guys, to make it my command copy paste here and there, because I have to do maybe some command I have to do copy paste from Windows to Linux. So what I'm doing, I'm using PuTTY okay, to log in to this my local system from a Windows. So things will be very simple for me to do copy and paste. So this is the same instance of my Linux. Okay. And if you see here, Docker PS, same OS is running. And if you do Docker images, grab, and this image I have. So plan is, guys, you have to upload this image over here. Over here. So that's called push. And how to push, guys? So here in the top, you can see they provided us some command, and they will guide us how you can upload the image over here. Okay, so if I click here, so they give you options. You are uploading from Linux or Mac, or you're uploading from Windows. Accordingly, they give this command to you. But right now I'm in the Linux. So they say first run this command. Okay, why? Because this command will give you a password of your ECS service. Okay, because I told you guys this is a private registry. In the private registry, if you don't know the password, you can't download or you can't upload. So if you want to retrieve the password, right, of this particular registry, okay, so they give you, they said here, you have to run this command, and this command will give a password to you. Okay, password to you. And this password you can use in the Docker login command. Okay, and here the username we have given is AWS, and the URL of the where Docker has to log in this one. It means by default, if you use Docker login, they log in by default always to the Docker Hub. They log in to the Docker Hub. How I know? You can use Docker info command. They tell you they log in by default to the Docker Hub. But if you want to log in to any other repository, right? So command is Docker login only, right? But here you tell what is the URL of that server, and this URL, guys, is provided by AWS. Okay, so I'm logging here. They're asking me username. Here it will say username is AWS. asking the password. Obviously, I don't know password, type something, it will definitely fail because you don't know password. But how to get the password, this command gonna help us. And get this command we can run only in command line. The good thing is in my Windows, guys, we have already logged in in my command line AWS. Initially we log in already, so you guys know. So I already have a system login. So I am copying this command in my Windows, and wherever you guys log in, just copy the command there, and this will tell you the password, a pretty big password, obviously for security. Let me take this password from here. Okay, and let me again try. The username is AWS. Most of they might take this big password from here, and they try, and oh, that's nice. They log in as successful. Okay, but you don't have to do this thing here and there, and that is the reason, guys, they give this one command. So this command give the password, and the pipe, this command go inside Docker login, and that's the reason we use password stdin, means they take the passwords from somewhere else from the pipe. But by chance, guys, I want to log in my Linux, and AWS command I already set up in my Windows. So this is, guys, this is the way I did here. By the way, you can download AWS command in Linux, log in with AWS command first. You guys know how to log in with AWS configure or login command. Then you can copy paste this command in one system. It will work for you. But whatever the way you want to work, that will be your choice. So in my case, this is the simplest way to work on. Okay, so let me close, and this system, guys, now is login with one of the repository. And if you run the Docker info command from here, it is not updated here. Okay, I don't know why, but in my system, I have a login successfully in the AWS. Okay, so maybe I already log in this, so that they are taking this registry also. But if I try to pull something, let's see here in a minute, does the login not? So let me do and go for the next command. Next command, they say if you have a Docker file, you can use this command to build. In my case, I already did this. I already built my images. Okay, so this image I already have. That is called build. Now, if I want to upload this image, so guys, in the Docker world, the syntax you have to follow. If you want to upload any image, so syntax of your image would be first you have to give your image name, then colon your tag name. Okay, and then on the front of this image, you have to provide and type the URL, right, of your registry. And in our case, the URL of the registry is this one. So this is the guys syntax of the Docker images. Okay, so if you want to upload any image, okay, so image name would be your tag, image name slash, and then in the front you have to type your URL of the Docker Hub, Reddit repository, Azure repository, here AWS repository. So you do your image name would be something like this. But right now my image name is this one, so it won't work. So I have to change my image name. So there's a command called Docker tag, and I'm just giving my older image name. So that this is a way to rename the image. Image rename, right? You can see now same image, the same ID, but now we have one more name of the image is this one. Okay, so why I to give this, because this is syntax of the Docker images. Now, if I try to push this image, okay, this command could push. So by this one single line, they come to know where to push, what image name, and what is tag or the version name. Okay, if I hit enter, now they say AWS image does not register. Name is unknown. Actually, sorry, one more thing obviously we have to do. This is just my URL, right? We are uploading our image in over here. Okay, so whatever image name you have to change with your repository name. Okay, So let me copy this one because my repository is this one. So, and the image name that I had is this one. AWS image colon v1. Because I created this repository already. Right? And then let me push. So guys, now they are preparing, and because I already authenticated in my local computer, so that is there is no error come up, and they are uploading in the ECR registry. Anybody who have this URL, they can download, but only because if they have my password. So I provide my password to my team and they can download. Or if I make it publicly, anybody can download from here. So this image has been uploaded. How can we check? So if I close this and if I refresh, you will see guys one more image come up with this particular tag that I uploaded. If I click here, they show you the entire detail of this image. Okay, of size and other things also. And this is the URL of my image. So anybody who want to download this image, I can provide this URL, but only thing is they have to first log in. By chance, I am already logged in this system. So in the future, I want to download, there's a command called pull. I can use this URL I will provide with the version, in my case is latest only. Okay, and hit enter. So they will download for you. But I already have, so they show you this message. Otherwise, you can also download by this URL if you have my password, because this is a private registry. So that's all guys. So pretty simple, nothing very fancy here, but mostly guys, we want some time to have our own private registry. One of the reason is security compliance. We can't put our images with content in the Docker Hub. Then this kind of service of ECR or maybe other cloud also have their own private registry. You can use those services. Okay, so guys, this is all about ECR service, and this image guys we're going to use in some other demo today. Now let me move to the same service called ECS again that I already started. What ECS I already explained to you. So what I'm going to do, I'm moving to next topic of ECS. Okay, so what ECS you guys know very quickly, let me summarize so you guys come to know what exactly we are going to do today. So I told you guys in my last class, we require some manager computer. This is called a master. We require some worker node or a slave computer. They are known as worker node. There's a 1 and 2 and 3. So and everybody work together. That's called cluster. And the motto of this cluster to manage the container. So it's called container cluster. Okay, now in the cluster container cluster, if you use ECS cluster of the AWS, so this master computer they manage internally. They give you this simple page, okay, to do some management, but internally they are running some program or maybe some node where they have master. So master is you can think it is a pure managed by AWS, or maybe you can think this is a server that is not visible to us. So I can use the word called serverless. There's no server, it is invisible, but internally they are running something for you. But in my last ECS service, I show you if you need multiple worker node or instances. So technically you have to launch EC2 instances, and I show you guys EC2 instances there and the EC2 portal, and we can log in also there inside this EC2 EC2 instance and do and see something. Okay, so now guys, I'm talking about ECS service. Say master will manage for you, don't worry, but now you decide, do you want to manage your own EC2 instance? I will configure for you. Okay, but do you want to see this EC2 instance in your EC2 dashboard? So if you want to do something, want to see something, want to manage something, do you want to do this? Okay, if you want to do this, then use my tab called EC2 type. But if you want, no, I don't want to see any EC2 instances, I want everything is purely managed by AWS, configure by AWS, managed by AWS, and for the planning also. For example, some of the container need 10 GB RAM. So AWS will taking care about the instance where I can run the content of 10 GB. So if you have a requirement, something like this, that everything is seamless, is not visible. So the guys, this concept is called serverless. So I don't need any server to see, visualize, connect. Everything will be go internally somewhere in the AWS. I don't have to worry about. My main plan is that I have the image somewhere, and from the image I want to launch a container. This is the only thing I will do. Apart from this, the entire cluster, maybe master or all the worker node, because worker node is the one who work for you, is being serverless. So ECSA, I also have this facility also with you, and name of that facility where you can create the entire cluster serverless, not master. Main thing is worker node is also been serverless. Okay, so name of that service called Fargate, guys. So Fargate is a one fun service, or I can say sub-service of ECS. Okay, what they provide you? They provide you container cluster. Okay, and good thing is they are serverless. And what is serverless, guys? We discussed already multiple times. For example, Lambda is also one serverless. S3 is also one serverless. You don't see any server. Okay, but whatever you require, they will provide you. So S3, they give you storage. Lambda, they provide a facility for running the function. Same thing, Fargate here, they provide a cluster. Now, you need 10 worker node, 100 worker node. On the fly, they check your requirement, and on the fly, they launch the server for you. But it is there somewhere in the AWS cloud, but they won't show you because they say we are managing everything for you. So why you have to worry about this? So Fargate is one powerful service and is come under the umbrella of serverless. So in the ECS, you can decide you want to use EC2 type. That was the demo I show you in my last class, or do you want to go for serverless? So that will be your decision. So today I'm going to show you a demo of serverless, this is called Fargate, and the same time I'll also show you how to integrate Fargate, or maybe I can say ECS services with ECR. So the image that I uploaded right now, we're going to use that image only. Okay, so let me show you how to do this. So I'm going to create a cluster again. I don't have a cluster right now in the Mumbai. I'll go and create a cluster, and now you guys come to know the meaning of this slide. So in last class, guys, I selected this template where they give me Linux AMI and they launch EC2 instances for us. And now I am going to use this one that is also Amazon suggested to use, where everything is done by AWS. Our main thing is server is serverless. So this is called AWS Fargate I am using here. Okay, so click next. And here they obviously asking cluster name, says that my cluster serverless. So just come name or maybe Fargate. So this is the cluster name I am giving here. You want to create your own VPC? I don't require nothing. And if you go for content inside, what is content inside? I already explained to you in my last class. Is a one separate service by CloudWatch. They mainly customized for container monitoring. Click, that's all. So simple, guys. One click, your cluster created. Now you don't have to worry about master, and you don't have to worry about your worker node. Okay, you might have 100 worker node, 200 as the requirement come. They will scale you or automatic for you behind the scene. As per the requirement come up, but they don't show you anything in the EC2 page. Okay, so now guys, cluster is active. Okay, cluster is active, working good. Right now, everything they manage, but obviously you have to tell your requirement. So you should be very clear that which image to use, and from this image, how many container you want to launch. So obviously you have to tell your requirement. So for this, you have to set up your task. And so in the last class, I explained you what is task. So the task will provide the requirement, which image to use, how many container to launch, and something like this. So you have to first create a task for this. Okay, so right now I don't have any task here. So without task, guys, your container won't launch. So for this, you have to go to task definition. You guys know this is a task I created in the last class, but let me create one more new task. Okay, again, your task is also compatibility, right? So last class, guys, because we create a cluster of ECS, EC2. So this type of task you have to create, but today our task would be based on Fargate. So depend, guys, what kind of cluster you have. Accordingly, your task should be compatible on that type. So I'm going to create task of Fargate. So those who don't know task and those who by chance know Kubernetes. So in the Kubernetes, guys, whenever you create a code in the YAML file, where we write the step, I want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So this code of this file is known as task. Okay. And after you write the code, you have to run the code. This is called task. We are executing the task or we are running the task. And here, if you want to run the task, you have to create a service for this. Right. So if you see in this page, again, let me cancel. So if you go to your cluster again, this cluster. So right now I don't have a task. Okay. So we'll create a task. And after you want to run the task, you have to create a service, and service is the one who will run the task for you. So you can think in this way, those who know by chance Kubernetes, otherwise what is task, I already explained to you guys in my last class. So I'm going to create a task. Let me create a task is by Fargate task. Okay, again, same thing, give a task name. So my task for Fargate. Okay, guys, the automatic use this. Last time, guys, you remember they just directed EC2 because I selected EC2 template. Now it is Fargate template. All the things we don't need right now. All the role they need, they create for you. You don't have to worry about. So they create this role, EC2 task execution role, they create for you. But let me also create a note of this. Maybe we might use somewhere. So this role they already create for you. Memory, guys, I already explained to you. So let me use 1 GB memory. Okay, and let me use, let's say, 2 CPU. Okay, again, they are per range wise. Okay, so for 1 GB, this is the range they suggested, that would be enough. So guys, this is the limit. I already explained to you the use of this task memory. So this one. Now, important thing, guys, here is the container definition. So because you are planning to launch a container, and for the container, I need an image. So if I click here they're asking you what container name. Let's say this is my container one for web. It is just a name. Okay, and now tell me the URL. So last time, if you remember, I just typed the URL, name of the image. So by default nature, guys, of this also is they will pull the image from the Docker Hub. Okay, but now I don't want they will pull the image from Docker Hub. Now my image in my private registry, and the private registry, guys, is over here. So I want they will pull the image from here. This is my private registry. Okay, so I'll provide this image that I uploaded right now from ECR. Okay, but good thing, guys, here this is private registry, it is secure. But even though I don't have to provide password here, because ECS is also AWS service, or ECR is also AWS service, and you guys know if two services want to communicate each other, they require a rule. Okay, and this rule, guys, they already created. Okay, where I will explain in a minute. But this option come up if you want to upload, get the registry image from like Azure. So image is there in Azure cloud. So for AWS perspective, they are private. Then you click here and to give the password of that guy. Or maybe Docker also have options to have the image private. So if the image is private in other company, you can provide the password here. Okay, there's a memory limit per container. Let me use like 256. There's a per container maximum limit. I already explained to you in my last classes. Okay, and here they're asking of container port mapping, and because guys this is Fargate, so it means there is no worker node they show you, and because they don't show you any worker node, so there's no concept of node port coming. So if you remember last class, I explained what is node port or the host port. So anybody come on port number 8080 will provide connect and send to container those port. This particular port number. We don't require here because there is no serverless. So how can I find the port number of the server? So further mapping guys, they will do for you this code dynamically. If you guys remember my last class, I show you this command called -p. They will dynamically provide the port number to you. Something like this they will do here. Only thing you have to tell here the port number of your container. So in this container, which service you are running, what is the port number of the service. So in my case, this container running with Apache server, and the port number we know because we have configured is 80. So I just tell this is the port my container running and over the TCP protocol. So there's the only thing you have to do. Further mapping or the patting or netting they will do for you because this is serverless. Okay, that's so guys, it has been configured, right? And now I am not doing any service mesh here. Okay, so anybody who know microservices, service mesh, or some other concept like this, they can do and configure something over here. Or anybody who are interested to learn service mesh, Istio, Envo. Okay, so I'm going to come up very advanced training from very basics to advanced of service mesh, especially in Istio. We haven't launched yet, but we are coming soon. So you guys can join, and there I explain you lots of things about microservices, Istio, service mesh, everything. From very basics to all the advanced. So you guys can join that class. It is just a 8-hour classes of weekend, Saturday, Sunday, but we're gonna cover almost everything about the service mesh. Okay, but we don't require all those things here. And let me go and create. So technically, guys, this is the rule they created, and guys, this is the meaning of this rule. So what this role will do? This role has a capability to contact to from ECS contact to ECR ECR service to download the image, because the image is the private, so they require a role to download this. Okay, and here in the CloudWatch you also create logs. So all things of the ECS, they create a logs here. So what is cloud log, guys? You guys know we have discussed in very detail. So they create the log here. And this is the definition here, right? And that's what. If you want to change something, so there's a role I explained to you. Okay, you can go and change something here, whatever do, and this is just on template. Okay, so that's all from here. Now cluster is created, our planning is created. Planning is I want to have to use this task to run. Now guys, even though task is not attached, the cluster is different, we create a task separately. But if you want the task that we have created run in this cluster, so we have to use services. Service is the one who will run this task. Okay, and service also do one more thing. Task is just a template, okay, to define which image to use, what memory to give, what is port number to use. Okay, so task is something like this. It is a definition, actually only the information. Perform this task, because task also contain the name of your image. So from this task, how many containers you want to launch? Okay, and plus you want to run the task or run the code. So for this, guys, we have to take the help of service. So in the service we can define how many containers you want. That's called desired state. So for this, I have to first go to my cluster. This is my cluster name. Okay, just go to services. There's option called create. Again, you should be very clear. You want to use the service in which launch type. EC2 we see in my last class already. We are going to Fargate. As they automatically detected your task name, because this task name we created for Fargate. This is the latest version we had there, because it is like code, and because code normally had the revision. So there's the latest revision that I changed in my task come up. Okay. Now here they're talking about platform version. This is a platform version of Fargate. So this is one of the latest version of Fargate we are using here. Which cluster you want to launch this service? This cluster, what is service name? So my service for Fargate. So this is just a service name I'm giving. So there's no concept of daemon set here. They only support a replica. This is also one use case. If you anybody want to go for daemon or daemon set, Fargate doesn't support this because they are serverless. And there's if you don't know anything on server, there's no meaning of daemon set. What daemon set, guys? Those who know Kubernetes, they know about daemon set. But in my last class, very quickly I explain you what is daemon set. But according to a use cases, I want to have multiple containers from the same image. That is called replica. So by default service type, they have a replica. So how many container you want to launch? Let me use 3. So number task means number of container you want to launch. So you can launch 3 of same copy. That's correct. Or because the 3 server running, so all the 3 server will be backend server. They automatically create one load balancer for you. So in this world, the load balancer is also known as service. So service will work as a load balancer for you. Okay, so healthy purchase, guys, they're checking. So let me use 0. Let me quickly check the health. So things will come faster. You know, these are health check the way I explained you in my load balancer also. So something like this they will do for you. Okay, rolling update, guys, I explained you in my last class. Blue Kubernetes deploy, guys, I will explain you when I go for code deploy, especially those guys who are exclusively doing developer training track here, AWS. There I take this topic in very detail, very interesting, very powerful topic. I'll show you there. Okay, so I'm going for rolling update deployment type. And that's all. Next step is just which VPC you want to use. So I'm going for default VPC. I'm going to use all the subnet because they're serverless, multiple server they might use behind the scene. For us, it is not visible, but they launch. So I don't know which data AG they launch. So let me add all AGs here. Security group, you guys know they create one security group. I say they're using the security group that we had created, I believe. So let me add it to see the rule. So here they're allowing all the traffic from port 80. That's what I am looking for. So I think this might be, that's the only thing we need, I believe. So they created the security group for us. So I'm not adding and changing anything. Do you need a public IP? Obviously, I want my service to be connected from outside world. So I'm enabling public IP. Okay. And do you need any extra external load balancer? Okay. So right now we don't need, otherwise you can configure some external load balancer for this. You know, ALB, they give you more flexibility. You guys know the power of ALB. Here we have concept of routing, path-based routing, something like this. So those kind of capability, guys, you can achieve from here. Okay, so if you want, you just go and enable this. But if you enable this, guys, then you have to go and choose your load balancer that you already created, or you have to first go to your load balancer page. First configure the load balancer there. That I take this topic in very detail already. Configure load balancer, come back to this page, refresh again, select this. Okay, then you can use some external load balancer with this service. Right now I'm not doing this. Okay, and that's all. Service discovery we don't need right now. Okay, auto scaling, again, no. And that's the guy's final output color. And let me create a service. And guys, as soon as I create the service because the part of my cluster, so the service will run the task, and the task, we have the image. From this image, they launch 3 tasks for us, or 3 container for us. So let me launch. Now they have created, and now if we see the service, okay, the service, the desired count is 3. So they launched 3 tasks or 3 container for where in my cluster. So if you see here in your cluster, the service Desire3 that right now is 0. So if you run the task, now 3 tasks is created. 1 is provisioning, 2 is pending. What I mean by this, okay, provisioning means they are looking for some server. They don't have server. So it gets so powerful. Understand one thing. First, they create a server for you. Okay, and on the top of the server, then they'll launch this container for you. And 2 is pending. Okay, now they are running. So technically, you might think they might launch 1 server or maybe 3 different server. Okay, somewhere it's not visible, but somewhere they create. On the top of this, they launch 3 container for you because my desire is 3 tasks or 3 container. But here now it's very clear. They launched 3 container or 3 tasks on the top of Fazil. And we have only 1 service to use. Service is the one who decide how many content to use, which external load balancer to use, or something like this. Okay, now if you go to service, you can see 3 require and 3 come up. Okay, and now if you go to EC2 instances, okay, you don't see any instance here. If you guys remember in my last class, you will see your instances here. Okay, now we don't see any instances here. Okay, it's a serverless. It means even though if you go to EC2 also, in the last class I showed you guys EC2 instant launch. Right now I see at 0 instance running. There's no instances they are running behind the scene. Okay, even though if you go to your auto scaling group to check what they have there, we don't have any auto scaling group. Also, if you go and check launch configuration, we don't have launch configuration. I told you my last class, when you use EC2 type ECS, behind the scene, guys, because your desire is 2 or 3, behind the scene they create auto scaling group for you. I show you there, right? And also show you have to update this. But because serverless, everything is seamless, right? Everything is there internally, but where they are, how they're managing, what they are doing, they know. This is, you don't require to know, because serverless, you just go and use this. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so without server, technically they have a server, but without server means we don't have to see the server and don't have to manage the server. Everything they do behind the scene. Okay, but we can connect. So if you we go to any of the container, even if you go to service here, and this is the service detail. So this is service. Okay, and right now if we see the events of this service, so service is connected, everything is doing fine, there is no error, task run. And so it means it also has one more meaning. Because my service use task, my service use task, service use task, and task has a image information and image in the ECR, so they can also pick the image from ECR. Okay, even though they're secure, because we have configured the role. So because of the role, they can pick it because of this role or because of the task or whatever I add there. And now if you go to my container format, no, this one. Let me go to my cluster again. So if you go to my task, and if I click on my task, there's actually container here. And they give you public IP because we associate the public IP. Okay, so let me pick this public IP just to go and check and connect it. I see here output come up. Or because by default they pick the index of PHP page. So because I intentionally put my PHP code there, and this PHP code actually print the IP of this container. So wherever guys they launch the container, I can pick the IP of the container. So this container is running somewhere, and we pick the IP of this container. And by chance they had 2 network card in the container, and this is this one, and this is this one. Why they have 2? They know better, but they have to. And in this image, I also created one more page called vimal.html. So this is also working. There is no challenge. Okay, there's one thing to see here, interesting. And if I go and pick my second task, okay, and if you notice here, my second contains a different IP altogether. So this IP is different. My second public IP container is different, but have the same website. Means obviously running in the same different content, so different IP print. There's a different point, different IP print, but technically they have the same application, right? Because they launch from same image. So technically you don't see any load balancing here. It means you have 100 content running, 100 public IP you have. Okay, have you 100 public IP you have? So we have to provide all the public IP to a customer to have a connectivity. Okay, and that is one of the reasons why we need external load balancer here from ELB. So what if you have an ELB automatically is registered with this all this task and the container. Now you have one single IP, provide those IP, and my ELB, what do you use, maybe ALB or CLB or NLB, whatever they support here, especially the ALB, they will auto do load balancing for you. Okay, so this is one of the idea, guys, you can use. So right now everything working good. There is no challenge. Is Fargate as a service, but but for the thing, guys, if you want to add, so you can do this demo by yourself, because adding a load balancer, you guys know, create your own. After you create your own, you can just go and change in your service detail. Just go on the service, edit and update your service. Okay, and tell now I want to use a load balancer. Okay, you want to use a load balancer and use it. But guys, if you want to add afterwards, you can't add afterwards after get a service. So you have to create one more service, add this new service again, and remove this old service. Okay, but typically normally we always need load balancer. So where to use load balancer here, I already explained to you. And because this guys is connected to CloudWatch, so in the CloudWatch they have a logs come up. If they have log, so here you guys go and find they have the log. So just go and check the log. Plus in the content inside they are having the detail about this. So just go and search in ECS cluster, and these details come up, how many they are running, all the things come up. I showed you in my last class also. Okay, so this is about ECS, ECR we discussed, ECS, EC2 we have discussed, ECS Fargate we have discussed. Load balancer, a simple thing you guys know. I don't want to invest the time to create again. Just go and attach. So now you know the use of load balancer. 100 content come up, 100 new IP come up. I don't want this. So one IP I want, that would be load balancer IP that you can go and attach over here. So guys, this is the whole detail about ECS service. One more service we have right now. By chance, this service is not at all the part of your developer track also, and your CSA track also, but a lot of guys wanted me to discuss. So again, this is a big service altogether. I don't want to discuss much, just want to give you some name so you guys will have an idea about this service. So technically, guys, ECS is a ECS is a container management cluster, and this product is created by and managed by AWS only. So they are the one who manage, plus they are the one who create this product. Okay, but there's one more product in the market that is so famous in the container world for their management part. That's called container management product. And that product is, guys, the market standard. Okay, almost everyone use that product only in the market. That is called Kubernetes. So guys, recently I completed CK training of Kubernetes. Most of guys from there, so they know Kubernetes well. But this is a product. It is a market standard. Everybody use this product for creating a container cluster. So this is open source product. Maybe this started from Google, but now it is open source product. And again, the concept is also there. We have master, we have slave, everything work together. But Kubernetes is so powerful. They have a better plugins, connectivity, providers. So almost every company, every product support Kubernetes very well, very mature product, no doubt. And Kubernetes, because it's so famous, so what AWS has done, because this product is not created by AWS, but they can create one thing. So they say we can create a managed service for Kubernetes. So in the Kubernetes, you don't have to worry about master and slave creation. Everything we will create for you on the fly. We provide a RAM and CPU resources. After we create this entire cluster in one click, now on the top of this cluster, how you want to use, there will be your Kubernetes skills, but entire management and resources I will manage for you. And name of the service called EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service by the AWS. So difference is both guys do the same, both AWS manage, but ECS is developed by SS by AWS, and this is developed by an open source community of Kubernetes. There's the big difference. And again, guys, how you develop, how word adapt, that makes more sense. Kubernetes is more adapted by all one. So that's the reason, guys, AWS come up with this service called EKS. Okay. So if we search here about EKS, it's called Elastic Kubernetes Services. Managed services. You don't have to worry about if you don't know how to create a cluster. Come here, one click, your cluster will create. Again, there's option here to ECR also. If you want, because in Kubernetes also, guys, we need an image to launch a container that is here called pod. So we can put your container here and you can get from there, or maybe you can get from Docker Hub. That would be your choice. So right now I don't have any. By some guys, they pick me here because both the product is very much connected to somewhere. But if you want to create EKS cluster, give your name. Let's say my EKS cluster 1. Okay. So I'm going to create a EKS cluster. Okay. Here they're asking you, tell me the Kubernetes version. Okay, which one to use? This is the most stable version of Kubernetes. 1.19, 120 also come up. So I'm going for this one. Service role, you guys know. Okay, encryptions and tags. So pretty much straightforward. Okay. So no role. I think they they are looking for the role. Role means so if you want, because guys, EKS is different service. But behind the EKS, guys, they launch EC2 instances, and some they use other services also. Okay, so obviously EKS required to use those resources. You create an IAM role. By chance here they don't give any options to auto create, so I can go to IAM page first to create a role. You guys know how to create the role and do it. So technically, guys, as such, this product, we don't have to focus more. But if you want to go for Kubernetes services, so we have an EKS service available. That is the main thing I wanted to explain you here. Big service, actually, EKS, they have their own terminology. I know, guys, some month back, I delivered one dedicated workshop in EKS. So 8-hour workshop just in this product. So it's a big topic. Lots of things is there. I don't want to elaborate further, but creating the initial cluster would be so simple. But after creating the cluster, it will just create a management information to you right now. But after you create the cluster, then there's a multiple options to have a node type. So what slave you want, different types. So lots of things we have to do here. And guys, here they don't give you lots of options from the portal. So we have a different tool in the market to use. Okay, so if you go for EKS control tools and command, so different command line tool we have for this. So graphical, guys, we don't have all the options of EKS. So these tools we use to create a cluster. Okay, so here this command we use to create a cluster. And why we need this tool? In this tool we can define our notebook. So we can say I need to have a cluster in U node. In this cluster, I need one worker node with this instance type. Okay, I want one worker node of this instance type, 10 worker node of this type, two worker node of this type. This code you write and run. Okay, so technically graphical option, they only help you to create a cluster, but after this, what you need further setup, you need this kind of third-party tool to configure it. So it's a long discussion, guys, but very quickly I just want to tell you these things we need. After cluster launch, they will give you config file. Anybody know Kubernetes? And after you have a config file, now after this, you will go for your basic knowledge of kubectl command. So those who know Kubernetes, so now after this, you can use all the knowledge of your Kubernetes to do it further. But if you want to try this, there's a good tool, a website you can use, and the same tool AWS is also talking about. So it's become a standard tool. It's a different company altogether, but now it is standard tool. AWS also say if you want to use EKS, use this tool to manage and configure that cluster. Okay, on the graphical, they give you options just to create. Further things they don't give you because they will depend on this tool to you. So I don't want to further discuss, but I think that knowledge is more and more than enough at the CSA and the developer track. That something like this we have here. Okay, so guys, these are all the things we have done. I think, guys, based on the content we have covered and knowledge we have acquired in this training, I might need one more class to complete your CSA track. That's all. Okay. So after one class, obviously next weekend we do, and we will complete our CSA training. According to content, guys, I think 250 or 300% I can give the guarantee that much content we cover in every topic I pick in very much detail with all the hands-on and practicals. Okay, maybe I know it's been very long. We are doing this training. That's I know, but we can compensate this time with the level of content we have covered with use cases, practical, multiple integration size, all the things, right? But I think as per CSA level of training, one more class I need to cover this content. So next week, CSA track will cover. And after this, guys, I will start the exclusive training of the remaining content developer track. Even though if you see the content developers, mostly most of the content we cover, but there's some exclusive service only in dev track. So again, it won't take much time to complete dev also. I'm not saying developer we're going to start. We already started. More than 80% content we have already covered of dev track also, but some content is left that we cover in the next classes. So guys, this will be the next plan. One more information I want to tell you guys here is I highly suggest for the cloud guys. So now we have AWS cloud, but now it is a world of multi-cloud management and the strategy. Okay, like AWS, like Azure, like GCP, or because now company uses strategy called multi-cloud. So we have a one common tool to manage everything is called Terraform. So I highly suggest, especially for the cloud guys who want to go on the career in the cloud, to have the knowledge of Terraform is very much useful. So this Tuesday, means day after tomorrow, and evening time, guys, we are starting exclusive training on Terraform, and that will multi-cloud. We're going to use all the cloud. By chance, if you don't have knowledge AWS or in GCP, we'll provide some videos to you to have the basic idea whatever we need in the Terraform. That will be enough. So Terraform we are starting. If you want to join, you can join this class. But I highly suggest, especially the cloud guys, because it's a very useful tool to have on. So that's all guys for today. I covered this topic of target and other things also. So that's all for today. Any question, guys? If you have, you guys can ask me. Yes, Mohammed, if you have multiple ECR registry, you can create a rules or I can say policies to control which user can create what, and you can attach with IAM or something like this. Can we use EC2 in Fargate task? No, Kapil. Fargate is a serverless. Maybe they might use EC2, maybe, but they say serverless. So they say we won't show you what they're using. Everything we manage for you. Yes, for now we can do this. What you're asking to fetch, build, and deploy. So we have a CI/CD pipeline. That is one of the topic of developer track. So in my developer track, I will talk about how we can do fetch the code, build the code, deploy the code. Okay, so it's called pipeline. So how can you build the pipeline? So in my developer track, I'll talk about this topic. DynamoDB, Aditya, I will take DynamoDB topic in my developer track in a very detailed level. DynamoDB topic. No, Mohammed, as such, there is no plan further for AWS developer DevOps track actually right now. Even though a lot of topic I already covered of DevOps here, but there is no further plan of DevOps track. Durgesh, if you are a part of Earth, so ML and DL of the on the top of AWS, I might take some part of this in the Earth. Okay, so but obviously not here. Yes, Riajuddin, you can do it. So in Jenkins, we have plugins, and you can use the Jenkins plugin for AWS. And from Jenkins jobs, you can launch each instance and deploy something there. So that would be possible and pretty simple also. In plugin, they ask you access the secret key to connect AWS, and you can do further jobs to do the next part. Pankaj says, if you're the part of again of the Earth, so in my upcoming classes, I will take some of the topic of big data on the top of AWS. Big data is also already going on in Earth program, but how to use big data services on the Earth, I'll try to take these topic in the Earth classes. So Dipati, in Fargate, they charge you not per the worker node because it's serverless. There's no meaning of worker node. They charge you per usage wise. Okay, how resources wise. So whatever resource that you container use or your task, you say that you want this much resources, that much they charge you. So they don't charge you per worker node wise. Yeah, Anush, Terraform and Jenkins are two different tools, solve two different things, but we can integrate those tools together to solve a lot of great use case. Uh, so obviously I can't discuss right now. After you have the knowledge of Terraform, and in Terraform class, I'll take lot of use cases to use this. Yes, Nikhil, you can connect this container with database. And just one thing, uh, we connect a database with the app code. We never connect our database to the server, right, or the web server. So web server never connect database, your app connect to the database. So inside the app, whatever code you write as developer is called database connector or database connection. So you can have your app. Inside the app, you can tell where is your database, according they can connect. Okay. And there the role of environment you can use variable. So we can set environmental variable. My container will pick this environmental variable, and in the environment variable we can tell where my connection string of the database. So they pick from there and they connect. But container never connect to database. App running inside the container will connect the database. It means there's a duty of the developer to write the code that help you to connect the database. So think in this way, you get your answer. Any plan for dedicated EKS course? Vishal, right? Recently, means some month back, I did this, so there's no further plan for EKS dedicated course. Why we need ECS? Frankly saying, we now I always use EKS, ECS because they have in the program, they have the service, so we have to work on. But technically, EKS is the one we use. But I can say in this way, before I think before the EKS, they have this tool created to content management. So any company who already running ECS workload, so they are there. But now anybody who come new, they try to use EKS only. Okay, so it's something like this. But yeah, if you compare with EKS, none of the container technology is in nowhere, right? If you compare with EKS, or I can say Kubernetes. Yes, I mean, in one ECS registry, you can upload more images to give different image name or different namespace. So every image name will be different. So that's all. So pretty straightforward, right? So Bharat, actually depend which interview of AWS you want to go. So accordingly to prepare, right? So, but yeah, you have got a lot of knowledge. So maybe this knowledge may be enough to crack any of the AWS interview. If you really attend all the classes and practice all the concept I discussed to you. So, as such, I might have Spring Boot microservices training. I definitely I will come up with this training because I'm getting a lot of requirement for this Spring Boot, but not right now. The 2-3 months I am engaged in summer program actually that I every year I do. But after this, I will come up with the Spring Boot microservices training. So that's all, guys. Over here, a lot of guys are asking for different services like IoT or augmented reality or VR. I would love to take all this topic, but obviously, right. Obviously, we can't discuss everything here of the time constraint. That's all. Otherwise, see you guys in the next class. Next class, I'll see you with some more remaining topics. Bye. Take care. Good day.